Khan, and today I'm going to be talking about the United Arab Emirates. So the topics we're going to cover today are the proxemics, how they view their environment in the United Arab Emirates, the political and infrastructural issues they have, and the corruption index and what business practices are unacceptable there. So first we're going to start with greetings. So it is a standard greeting there to shake hands, which is similar to greetings in America. But after you shake your hand over there, you need to place your right hand over your heart as a symbol of respect. When greeting a woman, you allow them to greet you first, because women over there have a lot of different rules in public spaces, and you can't show any public displays. So allow women to greet you first, and allow the counterpart in your handshake to end it, because they shake hands a lot longer over there than we do in the United States. So allow them to break it off first. That way you shake hands for the appropriate amount of time. So for personal space, they stand very close to one another when having conversations with the same gender. Like I said before, any display of intimacy between different genders is strictly forbidden. You're not even allowed to hold their hand or even lock arms with them. It's a big no-no over there. So that being said, if you are talking with the same sex, you stand very close to one another and have a very, I guess, what we consider an intimate conversation because you're so close to one another. And because of that, because they like to be so involved, you don't want to keep your hands in your pockets and you don't want to lean on walls, because that shows that you're disengaged with the conversation and with what's happening. All right, next, we're going to go on how they view their environment. Now, in the literal context, for their environment, they have the highest energy, water, and carbon footprint in the world. They are number one for pollution. Their land is turning into desert. They're having a lot of problems with that. Water is fleeting in their area. They do not have a lot of natural resource of water, and it's going lower and lower. They are number one in the world for waste generation, so they have a huge problem with that. And because of all these issues they have, they're heavily focused on solving these environmental problems. So that's a big focus for them, and they're trying to develop new ways to solve this. Now, if we're talking about their environment in religious context, like just their environment of where they live, they do not believe that humans control events. They are very religious. They believe in Allah. Most of them are Arabic, and it's an Arabic country. And so they do not believe they have control over their intermediate environment. They believe that is all religious, and it's an all-powerful being that controls their environment. So that are their views on that. Next, we're going to talk about political and infrastructural issues. Okay, so their political issues, they have an authoritarian government, and they regulate media content. So that's internet browsing and TV and anything like that, radio. All of that is going to be regulated by the government. That's just how those governments work. And so they really knock out any messages that are against their policies and against their politics. So that's an interesting facet. But other than that, they're actually a rather stable country. So as a business, you're not going to have a lot of issues with political unrest. I believe the last time they had a real political problem was in the 1980s when they had a coup. So they've been pretty stable since then. For infrastructure, they're actually one of the most advanced and developed infrastructures in the world, actually. And in their region, they're number one. They're ranked 17th in the world for infrastructure. So that's actually not going to be a problem at all if you're starting a business. They have the perfect infrastructure for it, so that won't be an issue for any business. Next, we'll talk about the corruption and unacceptable business practices there. So for the corruption index, they rank a 70. Now, the United States of America actually ranks 71. And they're actually ranked right below the United States with a 1-point difference. So because of that, there's a cultural problem. You can't wear revealing clothing. And there's some other issues involved with that too, like if you have a meal, if you invite them, you're expected to pay, and you're not expected to decline any food or beverages being offered. Another thing to note is they do not drink alcohol. That is not a cultural thing for them. So don't ask for alcohol if it's not given to you. That is uh, not normal in their culture, and it's frowned upon. So don't do it. That could hurt you in business meetings and stuff like that, or dining out with customers or clients if you're ordering alcohol, because that's just not part of their culture. They don't drink. And other than that, with corruption and just legality and business practices, they're pretty much all the same as the United States. I mean, they have a very similar environment for businesses and very little corruption. So overall, I think the business practices and stuff like that are going to be very similar to the United States. So that being said, the main differences you're going to have are just the cultural ones. So just be aware of that. And that is all. Thank you so much for your time.